Okay, let's get you a real estate wholesale deal in 30 days. Watch this. Hey, I am Mr. Maciek. Welcome to the channel. I talk all about investing in real estate, being a real estate agent, and wholesaling and flipping, and just generally making money. So let's get started here. Hey, now YouTube is telling me that 72.2% of you are not subscribed. Please subscribe below. Let's get these numbers better, people. All right, you've probably heard the term wholesaling. If you're not familiar with what it is, here's a very quick version. Basically, you go out there, you find a seller of a property that doesn't want it anymore, and they're willing to sell it at a better rate than the fair market value. And why would they be willing to do that? Well, maybe they're just sick and tired of it and they want out quick. So you go, you find these people, you write a contract for a nice, good, low price, and then you don't even have to buy it. You go find a buyer out there and you sell them the contract. It's called an assignment. You assign the contract and you get paid $5, $10, $15, $50,000. The amount you make is really all up to you and your negotiation skills. So that's what wholesaling is in a nutshell. Now, if you're just getting started in wholesaling in real estate, then I recommend you start with driving for dollars. So you probably don't have a big budget to spend on finding leads and mailers and all this stuff, right? So keep the business model slim and trim, and driving for dollars is a great sweat equity that you can build into your business. So what is driving for dollars? Just what it sounds like. You get into a car and you start driving and looking for distressed properties. Here's a few examples of what you really should look for. One, mailbox is overflowing. Grass is like up to the knees or bigger. Maybe the house is boarded up. Maybe there's a bunch of abandoned cars. Maybe there's like visible damage. Maybe a tree fell on it or a big branch and there's a roof leak that you can see from the street. Maybe there's just like the neighbors that are talking to you about this one particular property that's always a problem. Maybe there's some code enforcement thing on the front door, or maybe a 3-day notice for an eviction. Basically, you're just looking for a neglected property. Now, it's easier to find these deals in a rental part of town, right? If you're gonna go to the high-end area, you're probably not going to find them too much because they're usually bound by deed restrictions and people don't allow it to get to that. So find what the working class areas are in your community, and not the war zones, not the class D. You don't want to go all the way to the ghetto. You just want to go to like the C level properties, B and C, right? So drive around there, and then when you find one of these properties, write down the address and take a photo from the street. That's it. And when you go out driving for dollars, do it for at least 2 hours every session that you go out. And you should do at least 1 session per week as a beginner. I mean, this video is all about getting a deal in the first 30 days. So you got to put a little bit of work into it. If you can drive for dollars for, every day or every second day, that's even better. Your pipeline will fill up much quicker. Now, another thing about the rental areas is that landlords get sicker of their properties much faster than the homeowners. So if you go somewhere where most people are homeowners, then you're probably going to find some homeowners that are just fine living, kind of trashy. So that part right there, you're probably going to have a lower probability of finding someone who's desperate. But a landlord, if it's a high rental area, like a lot of duplexes or something, that's a great neighborhood to go for because most of them are rentals. Literally 50% of them should be rentals. In those areas, you're going to go and find landlords that are probably going to be sick and tired of being a landlord because their place is not being taken care of by their tenants. All right, now once you've compiled your 2 or 3 pages of different properties, you can go and start doing some work on the back end on the computer. So first things first, we need to find out who are these owners, right? Because we're going to communicate with them. We're going to contact them. And the way to look up owners, well, there's a couple ways actually. One of them, the easiest and the free one, is find your local property appraiser's website or the tax website for your county. And you can just put in the address and it'll pop up who the owner is. Now, you're not going to have their phone number, but in most cases, you will have an address. So there you go. Just go there, print that out. And now you have the owner's address related to a particular home that's distressed. Another way to do it, which is less common, is go to the clerk of the court's website in your county and just look up the documents that actually show, the deed and the warranty deed or the mortgage on it or whatever it is. Lots more digging to get that, but that's another way. And the last way that you can find owners of distressed properties is what's called a reverse lookup, but we'll get into that in just a moment. Okay, so you have your 2 or 3 page list. You have the owner's information. What do you do next? Well, you really should eliminate some of these people. Not everyone is an owner that you actually want to contact. So for example, anything that's bank owned, just eliminate it. Although you think you're going to get the best deal, finding the actual decision maker is near impossible. It's just not worth your time. It's a lot easier to negotiate with an individual than it is with a large corporation. You also want to eliminate anyone who's bought the property recently, right? Because there might be an investment group that bought the property in the last year or so and just hasn't gotten around to fixing that property up yet. So research how long have they owned it, and that's also found on the property appraiser and the clerk of the court website. And some people like to eliminate ownership in LLCs and companies, and I don't necessarily agree or disagree with this. This is kind of like to each his own. But usually when you're dealing with an owner that owns a property in an LLC, then they're a little more sophisticated and they're less apt to accepting a wholesale type of offer. But that's not to say that you can't find great deals that way either. So whether you want to eliminate based on an LLC ownership or not is up to you. You can also look up, in most states, you can look up who the owner is of an LLC or who the managing members are by looking up the division of corporations for that state. So in Florida, it's sunbiz.org. That's their website. You can just look up any LLC, see who the owner is. They'll even have an address for you. And that way you can do a skip trace or find who really is the owner of that property or the decision maker. Okay, great. Finally, we are getting to some action. Now we have to mail them, call them, and so on. So first step is send them a postcard. Very easy. You can go get postcards bulk on Amazon. They're very cheap. The cost to mail a postcard, if you just go and get a stamp and put it on, there's 35 cents right now. And all you have to do is write a handwritten note. You know, you address it to the person. You say, hi, I drove by your property. I'm a local investor. I saw your property at 123 Main Street, and I'm wondering if you'd be interested in selling it. You can say, I'm looking for properties to add to my rental portfolio or to flip. Then mention, please call or text me, because a lot of people are just more comfortable texting. So you'll get more responses by text backs versus callbacks. Now, if you do a lot of these, you could actually get much better discounts on the mailing costs. But that's really when you start getting into the hundreds and thousands every single week. All right, so that postcard has gone off in the mail. And while that is in the mail, what you want to do is now you want to start looking up the actual contact information, because you're going to want to call them and you're going to want to text them, right? So first things first, skip trace them. And you can use a couple different services. One is you can go on Fiverr.com and you can just find a skip tracing company. They do it for very, very inexpensive. I think last time I did it, I got 100 names for like $20 or something. But you know, Fiverr, you don't always get good quality, even though you get a good price. So if you want to get a little better quality, then I recommend going to reiskip.com. That's a good website. It's going to give you the contact information for most properties. And let's get started. Text them. That's the first thing you want to do. You want to see if they're actually interested in selling, if they're open to selling, really. So send them a text message saying like, hey, I drove by your property over on 123 Main Street, and I'm a local investor, just wondering if you'd be interested in maybe talking to me about selling it. You don't want to do the hard pitch yet, right? You don't want to say, I'm a cash buyer looking for deals. No one wants to hear that. They hear that all the time. They just want to work with someone. You can say, hey, I'm a local person, I'm a real person. Just reach out to me. I'm interested in buying your property. If you're interested in selling it, maybe we should chat for coffee. That's all you need to do, right? Just get started. Get them on the phone. That's really what you really want to do. The first step is get a phone appointment. If you could skip over that and go right into the appointment at the property, great. And if you could skip and leap all the way to the end, you're just going to go and try to get a contract right away. But it starts with just communicating. So be nice, be courteous, and you're going to get some no's. You're going to get people that's going to ask you where you got their name and number, and you know, just let them know I found it on the internet, I Googled you, I skip traced you, however you want to answer that. Now, big warning, you do not want to go and call them. What you want to do first is scrub this list against the do not call registry, because it is against the law to go and call people, and the finable offense is like $10,000 per dial every time you call somebody. They're going to check your phone records. Next thing you know, you got like $2 million in fines. So don't just call people. First, start the texting. And you're not really soliciting them. You know, you're not trying to sell them something. You're trying to buy something from them, actually. So texting should be just fine. Check your local laws too. Hey, if you're getting this so far, please drop a comment below. I really want to know, what did I miss? Is there some questions that you have so far in this thing? So just pause this video. Please write a comment. All right, so back to driving for dollars. One thing I want to mention is if you're going to commit to doing this once per week, just know that you have to build a pipeline. So do it every week, every Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you pick. Be consistent, put it in your calendar, time block it, and do this every week, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna have more and more and more names and people reaching out to you. The first week is gonna be small. Second week will be double. And then it's gonna eventually come to where you have a nice pipeline of a lot of leads. And you're gonna start being able to cherry pick only the best, most motivated sellers. So make sure to be persistent in this task and don't give up. Success does not come overnight, but in wholesaling, it can come very quickly. Okay, so let's say you've gone through everything I've just mentioned and you got a property under contract. Now you have a little time frame, a due diligence period, where you actually have to go and find the buyer of this property. So at this point in time, you're not gonna go buy it. You're actually gonna go find someone else that's gonna buy this property. And here's what you do. You have to go out and advertise this property. So jot this down. Here's a couple places that you can go and reach out to. First of all, go to your local RIA, your Real Estate Investment Association. They have meetings usually every week. There's probably 2 or 3 in your area, wherever you live, if you live in a 500,000 or more city, and pitch it. Meet people. Tell everyone, hey, I got a deal. I need someone who's willing to go and flip it or buy it. I'm a wholesaler. I want to wholesale this deal to you. The next thing that you can do is find out who are the top 10% realtors in your community and call them. Call their admin. Let them know, hey, I have a great deal. If you have any investors, I'm ready for a quick closing and we're ready to move forward. This is a deal with lots of value add opportunity. Another thing you can do to advertise it is obviously post it on Craigslist, which is not that great of a place, but it still will find you some buyers. And also on Facebook Marketplace, which is really excellent. There's also many groups on Facebook that are all about investing in real estate or flipping or wholesaling that are all local based. So find, for example, I'm in Sarasota, Florida. I think I'm part of 20 different groups that are all about real estate for the area. So find the local county, the local city, a particular school district website, whatever it is, and just put that info out there. Show a picture, don't show the address, and just say, here's how much the price is, looking for a quick cash closing, contact me with serious inquiries only. And hopefully this will get you more buyers. Now with wholesaling property, 100% of the time, sell to cash buyers. I know you can make more money by selling to end users, but do not go that route, because if it falls through, you are in trouble. You're the one that's under contract. So don't go that route, just find a cash buyer and make a little bit less. That's just fine. So you found a cash buyer for a property, congratulations. Now you need to figure out basically how much money do you make. And here's the rule of thumb. For every $100,000 in purchase price, there's a $5,000 assignment fee. So if it's $220,000, maybe you might go for 10, maybe you might go for 15. However, also know that that is just a rule of thumb. It's not set in stone. You actually get to set the price, and these buyers are going to negotiate you. So if you got something under contract for $100,000, and it's actually worth $175,000, but it needs $40,000 of remodel. Don't be greedy. Don't make it $35,000. You have to leave a lot of meat on the bones for these buyers to actually be able to flip the property. So don't be greedy, just get into it. Try to start with $5,000, $10,000 per contract. But if you find an unbelievable deal, let's just say you got something for $100,000 that's worth $300,000, you might get away with $50,000 or $100,000 assignment fee. All right, drop a like, make the thumb turn blue, and also go watch this video. It's more information about investing in real estate.